Today, we are going to get into the psychology behind some of the most, well, frustrating behaviors we see in people. We're going to break down why some folks seem to have zero impulse control and really explore what's actually happening inside their minds.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You're in a conversation, maybe even a debate, and this person is just so sure of themselves. They're making these huge, bold claims. But you know, for a fact, they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. It can be just maddening. But what if I told you this isn't just someone being difficult or stubborn? It turns out psychology tells us that this behavior is a huge clue. It's like a window into how their brain is wired to handle information and manage, or, fail to manage, their impulses. So we're not here to judge, we're here to decode. Okay, let's dive right in with our first major sign. Let's call this one the confidently incorrect.
Oh yeah, it's a classic, and I guarantee you've seen this in the wild.
So this is that person who jumps into a super complex conversation. Let's say it's about astrophysics or international finance, and they talk like they have 3 PhDs in the subject. They completely overestimate what they know because, honestly, they don't know enough to see how much they're missing. And this perfectly captures a really famous psychological idea, the Dunning-Kruger Effect. It's this cognitive bias where a person's lack of knowledge literally prevents them from seeing their own incompetence. It's not just arrogance, it's a kind of cognitive blind spot. And here's the key. Their confidence isn't a sign of knowledge, it's a symptom of the lack of it. And that idea brings us right to our second sign, which really builds on the first one. This is all about the battle between thinking versus reacting, or really the total absence of a pause button. Now, what's really fascinating here is the contrast. On one side, you've got cognitive restraint. That's the ability to just stop for a second, think, and maybe observe before you jump in. But on the other side, you've got pure impulsive reaction, just instant anger, getting offended by everything, and basically just responding with noise instead of clear thought. This isn't about being passionate. It's about a fundamental lack of emotional control. And that impulsiveness leads us directly into our third sign, seeing the entire world in just black and white. For these people, there is zero room for nuance, for complexity, or for any shades of gray. This really shows the difference, doesn't it? With rigid thinking, everything is either 100% right or 100% wrong. There's only one way to look at things, their way, of course. But cognitive flexibility, that allows for nuance, it accepts that there can be multiple valid perspectives. When someone can't handle complexity, they often get really defensive, because to them, it feels like a personal attack on their entire worldview. You know, the official psychological term for this is cognitive rigidity. It's the inability to change your thinking when you get new information. Think of it like an impulsive shutdown mechanism. Processing complicated, maybe even contradictory ideas takes a lot of mental energy. And for a rigid thinker, that feels overwhelming, even threatening to their ego. All right, our fourth sign is a biggie, and it's all about dodging responsibility. I'm talking about the habit of constantly shifting the blame. The process here is unbelievably simple and totally impulsive. Step 1, they make a mistake. Step 2, that mistake creates this yucky feeling of psychological discomfort. And step 3, to get rid of that bad feeling as fast as possible, they just toss the blame onto someone or something else. It's an automatic defense mechanism, almost as basic as pulling your hand off a hot stove. This pattern is known in psychology as having an external locus of control. It's the core belief that your life is controlled by outside forces, not by your own choices and actions. So if they're late, it was the traffic. If they get fired, it was their horrible boss. It's the brain just taking the easy way out to avoid the really hard, but super necessary, work of looking in the mirror. And that brings us to our fifth and final point, which, honestly, ties everything we've talked about together in a neat, if slightly concerning bow. We can call it the awareness gap. So what's the most critical piece of this puzzle? Well, our source material puts it pretty bluntly with the quote you're seeing now. The ultimate sign of all these impulsive patterns is the complete inability to see them in yourself. This is where that Dunning-Kruger effect we mentioned comes full circle. They actually lack the self-awareness to even realize they lack self-awareness. It's a real paradox. But listen, here is the most important takeaway from this whole thing. The very fact that you are here, that you can recognize these patterns in other people, and maybe even see glimpses of it in yourself sometimes, that is a powerful sign. It means you are operating with a level of awareness and self-reflection that is frankly pretty rare and incredibly valuable. Understanding these patterns gives you a kind of superpower, the ability to see the world with so much more clarity. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Now that you can see this pattern, what other truths about human behavior are hiding right out in the open, just waiting for you to decode them? Thanks for tuning in.